Hey everyone, we are here with Johnny Joseph, and before I say any words about who he is and all the things that he's doing, I'm just going to kind of let you open up and just tell us a little bit about who you are and why we're here talking today.
Yeah, sure. I'm Johnny Joseph. I'm 25 years old, a recent MBA graduate from New York Walton College of Business. I am from Dominica in the Caribbean. I did most of my primary and secondary education there. I transitioned to the US for 2 years of boarding school. Did 4 years of undergrad at Beloit College, where I majored in economics and sociology before my move over to UArk. And I'm a student of life. That's what I'd call myself, really.
Student of life, love it.
Yeah, I'm a student of the world. I am a perpetual student, and I'm always learning.
Love it.
I look at life as a journey, and I'm more in love with the journey than the destination. That's
Incredible.
me.
Incredible. Well,
Yeah.
that's already off to a great start for everyone that's listening. Congrats on your recent MBA at the University of Arkansas.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to get right into kind of a little bit more really deeper into who you are as a person, as you have embarked on a semi-new journey of becoming a writer, I guess a published writer and author.
Yep, no problem.
So built, not born, the architecture of becoming.
Yeah.
How do you feel, and like what's the first thing that comes to mind just when you hear me say those words collectively in one?
I see construction. That's what really hits me. And people think of life, we tend to make a mistake where we think of life as, things are predestined and you're just filling a role that is already predetermined for you. But I don't see it that way. I think you build yourself, and whatever you want to become, you envision that properly, and you envision it with absolute and immaculate detail. And after that, you kind of live your life future back. So you get that image of what you would like to be. You think about it, fixate yourself on it, and you build your daily life so that you can get there. You build your life. So you're built. You're not born to be something. You build yourself to be something. And that is the architecture of becoming who you want to be.
Incredible. So what I'm hearing you say, I'm curious how you would answer this question. Do you think that is contrary to maybe what most people believe? And let's just put it within, like, people within your demographic, age, upbringing. Would you say that's contrary to common belief, that concept?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I would say to some degree, for some people, it might be. And that is fair. But I don't really espouse ideologies that remove agency away from me. Anything that is put in place, any module of thinking that means that I cannot control my destiny, I don't take it up. It's not real to me.
Sure.
I don't see why somebody should. So it might be against common parlance, but I think even those people, my hope is I'm speaking to these people. If they pick up my book and read it, they will start to see even the roadblocks in their way as opportunity and grow out from it and see that they can build themselves as well. So I'm writing for them. So whether or not it is common practice, it's good, it works.
I'm hearing you say it's for everyone.
It is for everyone.
It's for everyone.
It is for everyone.
Okay, that's beautiful. Well, let's get into the first question that I have for you. So a lot, I think in your book, a kind of emphasized and repeated phrase is that everything is connected. So can you speak more on how that belief influences how you navigate conflict or disagreement in your everyday life?
Oh, that's a very interesting question.
It's a heated question, yeah.
You're starting.
We're starting strong.
Yeah, of course, hitting for the fences. You hit me for 6, is what we would say in the Caribbean. Yeah,
for sure.
Cricket, but yeah, very good question. So the way I view things, when something is, well, to begin with, I see life as a balancing act, more so than anything. So if you were to start a new job, for example, and you're pouring all your energy into that, and you're neglecting your social life, you're neglecting your spiritual life, then as much as you may be succeeding in your new role, you will be failing overall because you're not balanced properly. So going off of that, the way I see that everything is connected, the way I view that is, for you to be properly in equilibrium, you need to cater to all different facets of yourself, of your life, and of your surroundings, and of the people around you as well. So everything is connected. Perhaps if you are in the perfect world, you would be perfectly balanced throughout your physical, mental, spiritual world. And the way I view it is, helping one is helping all. So you can fix your spirituality by helping your physical health, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes you only have cogs. You can only pull cogs that can, or pull levers that can help one side of yourself. And you may think that it's not enough, but it might be what you need, because you might be off balance over here. So you pull one lever to help some other side of yourself.
Right.
These things are connected.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that, as I think it really, I mean, you're explaining it in a way that it applies to really all facets of life. And I think anyone can relate to what it is that you're saying. I'm curious, and I have this question for some other aspects as are written in your book, but I'm curious about this particular question too. Would you share with us maybe how you came to the conclusion in your own personal life that everything is connected, and why that became important to you?
Just being honest, when I look at some of my lower points in life, is because I was out of balance in some facets of my life, and was misplacing my energy, or over focusing my energy into one side, and neglecting others.
For sure.
And yeah, the balancing act is what really taught me. And the beauty of it is that the outside world, you have phenomena shifting you every which way all the time, and you have to kind of, navigate that constantly. So really and truly, it's not about being balanced once. It's about trying to maintain balance over a long sustained period of time. And as external factors shift, what that looks like for you will also shift. So you have to be attuned all the time and very attentive. And that is what we are wrestling with in our generation. That's what I'm wrestling with, and a lot of my friends are wrestling with.
Sure.
And it becomes even clearer to me because a lot of my peers look to me for advice pretty often, and you start seeing patterns and trends. When you're the one getting all the info from 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 different people, and you're seeing that, things may be off kilter because of similar reasons, you kind of get to see the pattern. And I'm blessed to be in a position that people feel safe enough with me and trust me enough to tell me these things. So instead of just reaching them, I put it all in one place, one-stop shop, come get it, and understand. Another interesting point is my writing will do way more for others than it will ever do for me. My satisfaction is knowing that somebody out there who I have no business knowing, no access to, and there's no logical way I should reach them, that person out there might read it and it might change their life for the better. And yeah, that is my real hope more than anything else.
Would you say that drive that you're explaining comes from one particular characteristic that you hold, or what part of a Johnny makes that a passion for you to reach people that you by no other means would have the access to reach?
Every part of a Johnny. I love ideas, and I love people. I don't want to save the world. I don't think I can save the world. I don't think any single being can save the world. But I think we all have a civic duty to pour back into the world what it has poured into us. And I've learned so much from so many brilliant people around me. And me putting this out there is just a vessel, a vehicle, people to try to approximate truth and get some clarity in their lives. That is my goal, and that is who I am, really and truly. That is inextricably linked to Ajani. I can't tell you what side of me, the whole side, every side.
Okay,
It's just
perfect.
true.
Yeah, no, I feel like that answer is like that. This is who I am in my writing, and also not in my writing, and that's who people see you as a person who wants to help others and be there for others. And
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure I would bet my life savings on that. If you ask any of my peers, I have two friends sitting in the background somewhere there. If you ask them, they'll say the same.
Incredible. I love it. Great answer. All right, let's move on. All right, so kind of moving on, my next question for you is, throughout the book, and this is one of my favorite parts, there's a strong call to listen to what you refer to as your inner child. How did you find, what that meant for you? Like, who is Ajani's inner child? And, how do you stay attuned to that voice through all of the phases of life that you've been in?
You're making me search my soul today.
Right. That's good. I feel like, yeah.
Which is what I've done, but
Right.
making me do it like
Sure.
live.
Right. For all the people. Hey, this is for all the people to see.
You get to see it raw and uncut.
Right.
You understand? Well, I lost my inner child at some point, and I had to grow up in some way very early, very young, and some of the childlike zeal and innocence left my eyes before it should have, and it hardened me in certain ways. How I dealt with people and how I viewed the world, I was slightly pessimistic or cynical maybe for a while, and it served me well for a great deal of time, honestly, because I had a more realistic view or more adult-like view of the world at a young age. So it placed me at somewhat of an advantage, but I realized that is not sustainable long term. And I had to heal my inner child. And in the process, I rediscovered so many facets of myself that I just lost or I hadn't been listening to. And I want to credit my girlfriend, Jade Mosquera, for helping me with that. Babe, that one is for you. That's your work. She always urged me to get in touch with that younger person, that softer side of myself, my truer self that was less hardened by the world. And I mean, it never got me overly emotional or anything, but it took me a while to find the balance of navigating through that and living in the real world. And now I think I have it. I am fulfilling the dreams of who I was supposed to be as a kid. I'm doing the things that he always wanted to do.
Wow.
I'm not there yet. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm well on my way. And that makes me comfortable. I get solace in that. It's a wonderful feeling, actually. And I urge everybody to try to find out who you were as a kid. Try to remember. Do the things you used to do as a kid. See how that makes you feel. There's a visceral feeling somewhere deep. And get in touch with that. And look at how it changes your trajectory. It makes a difference.
Incredible. So I feel like, I mean, first of all, that's beautiful. And I have a feeling that a lot of people that will consume this conversation will resonate with that in a deep way. And so I think that's super beautiful. I think I'm hearing you say that you, at least in your story, you did have to kind of come to the end of yourself, in a sense, to be able to find that inner child. Would you resonate with that?
Yeah, I'm very in touch with the end of myself and the beginning of myself as well. I think that you have to consider the worst case scenario all the time and be ready for it. If the worst thing happens to me today, I won't be pleased, but I'll be ready and I will find a way out, and I can sleep and I can get things done. If the best thing happens, same. I'll be able to move around. I can navigate. People run from themselves. I think that's why you see so many people on drugs or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
You're trying to escape some part of your reality that you maybe cannot deal with. I think it takes a lot of bravery to be sober and sit and look at yourself. Like, if you sit and look at yourself in a mirror like this in the evening and ask yourself, who am I? What am I doing? Where am I going? Who am I supposed to be? what am I doing wrong? What could I do better? And honestly answer those questions for yourself. You would drastically improve your future.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful.
For sure. I challenge anybody to do it and not come out better.
So on that note, what would you say to someone, if someone was sitting in front of you, and if I was sitting in front of you and I said...
But you are.
So if I said, Johnny, I can't do that. There is no way that I can sit in a mirror and look at myself and be honest with who I am. What if I said, I don't know who I am? I can't address the things that I've been through. What would you say to that person?
Yes, you can. I would say the fact that you're telling yourself that you can't do it is already hindering you, and you are in your own way. And you are putting something between you and that mirror, and you need to remove it. Even if it's piece by piece, and you shift it slightly to the side just enough to see bits of yourself. You confront it, you get over it, and you remove a bit more, and you dig. You know, if you were teaching your child to swim, you wouldn't just toss them in the deep end the first time. You would, wean them into it slightly, get them comfortable with the water, and then you give them the big plunge. But, you want to ease your way into those things. Now, I'm not one of the people who is heavily militant and be like, would tell you just man up, just face it. No, I don't think that makes sense. It might be too much for you to bear at once. But
sure,
if you really want to, I think piece by piece in moderation, and you're honest with yourself, you can do it.
Beautiful.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I feel like it was important to kind of hear that from you as well, because I think that they're arguably, and I'm assuming in the state of kind of the world, right, and humanity, that there's probably a lot of people that feel that way. And so it might be helpful to hear, for the people that are maybe at the ends of themselves and haven't quite found that inner child that they're looking for yet, to know, okay, how can I become that? How do I start? So I think that's a great answer. So let's move on to the next question. So you have a chapter in your book called Refining Your Bullshit Detector, which I love. I think it's incredible. So this book is not for people that are not ready to really face themselves, I think, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And to just be honest with who they are and the worst parts of themselves. That's what I grasp, and I think that's a beautiful thing about it. So in this chapter, you touch on the danger of manipulation in the digital age.
And manipulation in general, but I think it's heightened in the digital age.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So let's just do face value manipulation in general. How do you personally stay grounded in your truth, the truth that you've written in the book, while also remaining open to new ideas, new ideation? You said kind of in the beginning, I love ideas and I love people. So
of course, I do.
Kind of put those two together for me.
Ideas, I love ideas and I love people, but ideas come from people all the time. That's just how it works. And manipulation has been there since the dawn of human time. I'm a huge Robert Greene fan, and I like his ideas on manipulation. I like what he says. I think people look at it as this mean, ugly, nasty thing that only bad people do, but there's very little that separates manipulation from influence. It's simply the intention behind it is what makes it different. So manipulation being negative intention, influence being positive.
Wow.
But it is at play all the time. And the non-players, the people who don't acknowledge that or pretend that it doesn't exist, are just naive. So the first step to being impervious to manipulation is understanding that it exists. And then the second step is trying to understand somebody's intentions behind whatever idea they're trying to propose onto you. When you can understand where they're coming from, then you can see their end goal. And when you see their end goal, you can understand what they want to do to you, and now the ball is in your court and you move accordingly to win. I see myself as there's a sheepdog analogy that I like, or a shepherd analogy that I like as well. But I like manipulation. I like when people think that they can manipulate me. I enjoy it. Because I've confronted the darkest sides of my identity and the brightest sides. The light wins all the time, but I keep the darkness there, and it's very important. A lot of people believe that you want to just expunge that, and you don't want that in your identity. That's not true. That doesn't make you functional. That makes you weak. You need that darkness to protect the light. But it's just because it's there. Like, how are you going to, what are you going to do? Pretend a problem that is there is not there and let it destroy you? Or are you going to acknowledge it, face it head on, and win? And for me, like I was saying earlier, that I don't espouse any ideologies that takes agency away from me. I'm going to confront it, and I'm going to win, because it's there and I cannot avoid it from being there. Manipulation is there from the dawn of time. Everybody manipulates. Yeah, everything is an argument for me. Everything somebody does is an argument. My wear, my attire, what I'm wearing is because I want to be perceived a certain way. My haircut, whether or not I wear jewelry. If I had a ring in my nose, you might see me differently. If I had released a rap album instead of a book, you might see me differently as well. So it's all very funny.
Can we expect that in the future?
Possibly. Big up Jamie one time. Shabe. Taylor Rant. I actually manage an artist by the name of Taylor Rant, a rap artist. One of my friends from undergrad. Big things coming soon. Tay, look out.
Incredible. All right.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Of course.
I love what you're saying. And maybe it's because I do know you personally. I have the question that I feel like, what would you say to someone who hears that your take on manipulation, right? And they say, that's too harsh. Why are there two extremes? I'm hearing you say there's an extreme pretty much of either you're manipulated or you're the person maybe that even manipulates. Would you say that's true? And I'm curious, maybe you can speak to that in the light of, you said something incredible, which I haven't heard before, I think is true, about you're either influencing or manipulation, or you're manipulating, and those two are very close. What would you say about the extremes of being manipulated, or kind of being the person that overcomes manipulation? Is there only two extreme answers, one end and the other?
Yes, there are no non-players in the game. You're either being manipulated or you are influencing. That is how I view it. You cannot be a non-player because everybody is making arguments all the time. Manipulation and influence are just arguments. It's what you do. Everybody does things not only for their own gain, but because they also understand it. It's what I think it's called the second degree of consciousness, like dual consciousness, double consciousness. I think it's coined by W.E.B. Du Bois. And it's a sociological theory that people understand and people behave not just based on their own utility or happiness, but based on how they believe they will be perceived by others. So, with that being said, I understand that what you're asking me is not only based on what you want to ask me, but you're also asking me these questions based on how you think people will perceive you because of what you asked. So it's not just one level. There are many different levels of understanding and depth in all of this. And when you extrapolate that out, when you think a little bit deeper on all of that, I understand that everyone is playing the game all the time. I just play with pure intentions for the people who play purely with me. I am pure. I will never hurt anybody without reason. I have no intentions of it. And I think it's apparent if you spend time around me. If you see how an animal or a child would react to me, you understand that I play pure and I play straight.
But on a serious note, on a serious note, that's very real. I think, people with intentions that are not good, right? I think in the presence of someone who understands and knows who they are, knows their intentions, and understands just kind of this almost not level of hierarchy, but just level of understanding, right? It takes a level of consciousness of yourself and of the people around you to kind of understand these concepts, would you say?
Yes, and that's the interesting thing, because you can only get to that understanding by going really, really deep or being really, really simple. Like you ever see a child or a pet just not like somebody? for some reason. Like they cannot
Sure.
even put it in words why they dislike someone. Why is your dog barking at this person? The dog just feels the energy. The child
Right.
just feels the energy because they're not at a stage where they can go through that high level intellect to understand. But the energy never lies, and they can feel that. That's what is their guiding force. That's what guides them through the world. And that is one of the purest things that we have as human beings. The funny thing is that as we grow and we get socialized, we tend to, put that to the side, put our intuition to the side, and let rational thought guide us. But we should never get rid of that intuition because it doesn't lie. It doesn't lie.
Okay, that's a big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I agree with that as well. Yeah, it's a great point. Moving on into our next question. So, in the book, you speak about delayed gratification. Okay.
Yes.
So first
all the
of
gym
all,
bros.
yeah, let's hear Johnny's definition of what delayed gratification is. Let's start there.
Planting a tree that you will never get the shade of or eat the fruits of, but your children might. Yeah.
Powerful. Okay, so given that definition, I think a question I would love to hear you answer is, are there any daily habits or even rituals that you are committed to in the process of living that you kind of embody that are towards and for the delayed gratification of, I think we're talking on a generational scale, right? The generations to come.
Of course. Well, I do my future self favors every day.
Wow, okay, tell us about it.
So I suffer now so I can live like a king in the future. And the way I take care of myself, I'm not just living for today. I want to be alive for a long time to come. I want to see my children and my grandchildren grow old, and I want to play with them. I need to run today to keep my heart healthy. I maybe need to put some money in the S&P 500 to ensure that, generations to come, I will have something to give to my
Right.
children. I need to get some property now. And those are the things that I'm aiming at.
Sure.
Like everything else is just kind of fades away for me right now. As much as I'm interested in myself and my future, it's bigger than I am. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just one person, just one body.
Incredible. I love that. All right, moving on to the next. So I would say, just me personally speaking, I think you've developed a super powerful framework, especially given, I think age, being in your 20s, right? And you started writing this book when you were how old?
23, but I wrote this my whole life up here.
Sure.
I just put it down, started
Right.
writing it down at 23.
Right.
23. I think I had maybe just turned 24, actually. It was December of 2023. So I think I might have just turned, I was 24.
Okay.
23, 24.
Right. So for all purposes, right, I think like just the fact like you're in your early 20s and this framework I think is super powerful, and I think you would agree, and I think anyone who reads it will agree whenever that time comes. And so as you wrote the book, from when you started until now, are there still questions that you're wrestling now that maybe you asked yourself in the process of writing the book that you hope your future self will be able to answer with more clarity?
Always.
Yeah.
Because the road to success is always under construction.
Okay.
One of my my high school principal, he told me that on my first day of high school, and he was a close friend of my grandfather. And he was really sick as the principal. We had 5 years of high school. That's how our education system works back home. And the only reason he didn't retire is because he wanted to see us complete our 5th year. He died when we completed our 4th. He didn't get to see it. But that's where that idea comes from. I don't see the end goal as final. I set my goals high. and I toil towards them all the time.
Sure.
But I enjoy the toil. Even when I achieve stuff, like you told me, congrats on my MBA. Like I enjoyed getting my MBA and blah blah blah. Like I just have a piece of paper now. Like,
Sure.
and I mean, it was a very good thing, but I enjoyed the process of getting it more than I enjoy having it. The day I got it, I was happy because my family was there, my friends were there. I got to enjoy it with them. It was a great feeling. But beyond that, like, I'm like, okay, what's next? My time is limited. Like I'm going to die. I'm going to die at some point. It could be tomorrow. I don't know when that is. And if I stay in any moment for too long, enjoying something that has already passed or dwelling on something negative that has already passed, once I've extracted the lesson from it, I'm off.
Sure.
Time is not waiting.
Right.
Like, what if I die tomorrow and I was dwelling on something that was, insignificant? We don't have the foresight to see it now, but if you take a broader view of it, you realize its insignificance. I don't have the time for it. I have too many things to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of hearing, that I think the reward is not in the end and what you can accomplish, but it's in the journey that gets you there.
Of course. Of course.
Would you apply that, that ideology even to specifically writing the book? And can you tell us a little bit about that? The journey in writing the book being, what that provoked inside of you versus it being done and it being finished. And of course, it's an incredible accomplishment. Not many people can say that they've done, but how would you describe that feeling versus the journey of getting here?
Well, that's an excellent question, I must say. The journey was lovely. And that's why I was so confused regarding like what timeline did I write it in. Putting it down was not, I didn't have to confront myself that much. It was not that painstaking for me. The confrontation came
all the years prior.
Every time, every day, I look at myself and I'm honest with myself. At least I try to be. And I'm not talking from like a high horse either. I'm a very imperfect human being. I do not have all the answers. I don't think I ever will. I just putting that out there for everyone. 100%. But I try to take an objective view of myself and act accordingly and fix myself. Continuous improvement is very important for me. So I did enjoy the journey, but it's because I enjoyed my life. I have enjoyed my life up till 25 years and how many ever days that I've lived.
Right.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right.
The good days, the bad days, everything. Give it, yeah.
Would you say, I'm curious if there was something that whenever you decided, that you were going to put all of kind of your life and lived experiences into a book, from the time that you decided, I think I want to do this to today and here we are now, were there even some ideas and some concepts that you've written in the book that were different than what they are now? Like, did going through that process kind of teach you, did it teach you anything new? Or I think I also heard you saying, you kind of knew exactly what was going to happen and what you were going to write down because you'd been living it your whole life. Or, how was that process from what you thought to then when the words were on the page?
You have all the good questions. If you want to solve a problem really well, then you should spend most of your time asking the right questions. And you're doing just that. That's an excellent question. Yes, my thoughts constantly evolve, but there are some core principles that I've noticed may manifest differently, or the way I view it may be slightly different, but they're pretty solid. And the interesting part is I understand that I have confirmation bias as a human being, so I'm constantly wrestling with that as well. I'm not trying to place new ideas into frameworks of thought that I already have. That is very inefficient. You don't really grow that way. You have to look at them by themselves and see if they stand and see if they fit. And if they don't fit, then either the idea is off or your framework is off. And you have to be brave enough to confront either one of them. And that's why, like, when I argue with people, I'm trying to find the truth. I'm not trying to win an argument. That does nothing for me. I don't feel any better after that. I want to understand what's really going on. And that's why I try to speak to people who are truth seekers and students of life and journeyers as well. That's what I'm after. I'm after the understanding. I'm not after winning an argument. What does that do?
Sure.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Yeah.
of course, I see some of the rules. To go back to your question, I see some of my tenets as very similar. I see them similarly to now, but I'm sure if you ask me this a year from now, I'll give you a different answer because right now I'm still in that 24, 25 phase, but
Right.
now I'm starting a new chapter of my life. I'm getting into corporate work,
Right.
and I'm sure my ideology will shift slightly. So ask me this in a year when we continue doing this.
That we'll do it.
With the next book.
We'll do it. Wow.
Yeah.
You think you'll write another one within a year?
It depends on what life gives me. It's just my experiences. I'll put it out there. I have no shame
Sure.
in putting it out. I can look at the world. The world can look at me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
Near the end of the book, you write that heaven and hell are on earth.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm super intrigued by that, and I'm wondering, just in general, why did you feel like that perspective was important to have in the book, and yeah, where did that idea come from?
Well, it came from me understanding that I've been in heaven and I've been in hell before. I've experienced them both. And when I speak to people and they're telling me about their highs, the things that they're achieving, the things that they went through to achieve it, or their lows, the atrocities that they're enduring, and the burdens that they're bearing, it got me to realize that we're living our lives like as a culture that follows Abrahamic religions, let's say, towards a future, an end goal of heaven, of perfection, and away from hell. And that's that everything is connected theory, once again. And that is falling in love with the process and not the end goal as well. Because if you're doing all the right things for a sustained period of time, you will feel right, you will be in equilibrium, you will be in balance, and you will feel as though you are in heaven. And the converse is just as true. So I realized that they're both here. And it made me understand religion differently. And I think that's why it exists. Because if you get people to aim at something and follow, let's say, Jesus Christ, the perfect person, if you live like that, what if, like, who's to say that there's a heaven or there's a hell in some metaphysical place after we die? I don't know that. I believe that, but there's no way that I can know that. It's faith. There's a difference there. But I'm thinking that religion was created to some degree, or my understanding of religion is that if you follow in those footsteps for long enough, the way that you will feel, the kind of things that you will accomplish will be like heaven. And the converse is true. So they're here. That's what we know for sure. We don't know what happens after. We have faith, but we know what's here.
Sure.
Have you ever enjoyed heaven on earth? Have you felt like that? Or hell?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
And when did you experience heaven?
I think there are little moments, like weekly, daily, right? I think, in which this is me coming from also, the same religion and faith that you believe in. So I know this is not for all people, but yeah, I think it's very much so in the mind. I think you can feel that at any point in time if you choose.
Would you say that heaven is when things are in balance and you're doing the right things? Usually?
In a sense, yeah. I think I would agree with that for the most part.
And doesn't that make you want to chase that and live within to find that balance again?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that is the micro level. And when you do that on a macro level, which is an extended period of time, what do you get? Sustained heaven.
Sure. I think, would you, or could you personally interchange the words heaven with peace? Do you think that there's an association of peace with those moments that you find heaven on earth?
That's an excellent question. Peace. Well, it's semantic by nature, So what peace means to you might not be what it means to me.
What does peace mean to you?
I don't know. Because it's not peace, what is, let me ask you, let me flip the question. What is peace to you?
I think if I had to associate it with an emotion, I think that's a good way to kind of draw it back, to kind of level questions where everyone can relate to them. Whenever I feel calm, I think the feeling of calm is whenever I feel peace. So I think thinking about moments that my nervous system is calm. Does that help answer?
That's a good answer, and I understand. And I don't. That's not peace for me. When things are going perfect for me, that's when I'm most worried. Because there's very little opportunity there. There's very little going on. I'm actually at peace when things are going wrong and I can take action. I can pull this lever, pull this lever, pull this lever to kind of fix, to some degree. And that is more fun for me. That is when I'm acting and I'm doing. I feel the best when I'm accomplishing and doing things and making moves. Because I'm so in love with the process of getting things done that I'm always ready for the next thing. And perhaps that might change. Like, who knows what happens when I turn like 30 or 40 or 50. Maybe I might slow down and enjoy that contentment. But maybe by that time I'll have the empire that I'm working hard to build right now. So maybe my perspective will shift and my tenets will be different and I can talk to 50, 60-year-olds when I'm there. But right now, a life rid of struggle or obstacles is a life rid of opportunity for me. Opportunity and struggle are the same. It's just how if you step up to the plate and take on the challenge and overcome, or if you see it as a block that you cannot get over.
Right.
I don't believe in things that take power or take agency. It's not even about power. Take power out of it, but I mean agency and autonomy.
Sure.
That is what I cling to. Like, as a sociology major, what I understood was that there's structure and there's agency. All right, boom. And when I was in classes, for example, a lot of people would be so in love with the structure part of it because it is such a good scapegoat. Like, well, these things exist, that's why I cannot get to where I want to go because I have these things in my way. I cannot do it because these things are in my way. I cannot do it. And it just sounds weak to me. Why would you put that on yourself?
Sure.
Why don't you flip the question on yourself and say, well, these things are in my way. What can I do to get there? And that's just my perspective on things. And this is not to discount the plight of anyone because I understand that these things are real. And I empathize with you. But this is me encouraging you to,
right,
pick up yourself and let us put our efforts forward. Because by saying these things are in your way and you can't get over, you're putting yourself in hell. And by saying that these are opportunities, you're chasing heaven.
Wow. Incredible. I think that's a beautiful way to kind of draw back to that initial question. I personally, my stance is that I agree with what you're saying. I think I'm curious to know, what would you say to someone who, if their argument was that their, socio-economical stance and financial, upbringing and geographic upbringing has to do with the reason why they feel that life happened to them and rather they don't have the chance to make life happen for themselves. How would you respond to that?
Life happens to everybody in different ways, but it's all relative is what I think of it. I think the strongest soldiers get the hardest battles, and I don't think that God gives anyone more than they can bear. And if you're put into a situation you couldn't get out of it, I think that there are parts of my upbringing specifically that should have destroyed me if I didn't pick up that ideology. And to this day, I don't understand how they didn't destroy me. Really, that's why I'm so not fearless, but I am unfazed by fear. I can be afraid and still go through because there are a couple of things that I overcame at a young age that I think people never overcome. And me getting through those things showed me that everything else is a cakewalk. It's like I can get through. So my message to those people is that, well, life happens to everyone, and I empathize with you, and I understand that these things are difficult, but help yourself. Try to help yourself. And there will be people along the way who will help you. And I also urge anyone who ever has any questions, or if I can help anyone in any capacity, and email me, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. And Jani Joseph writes at outlook.com. AJANIJOSEPHWRITES at outlook.com. I don't think there's anything too big
Incredible.
to bear. No.
Amazing. I think to kind of round up that question as well, I believe it's important to propose the question: does someone who maybe does not believe or stand behind the idea of heaven and hell, and you even kind of express that it's your faith that kind of helps you stay grounded in that ideology, although you're not sure if that's something that you will ever, if that exists physically, right?
Yeah.
But I think the question I have is this book for someone who doesn't follow the Abrahamic religion and understand and believe in this set of beliefs? I think there's a lot of people that do and a lot of people that don't.
Yeah, it's for everybody, really. You don't have to follow that religion to understand, or those religions to understand, because I think truth transcends boundaries. That's what I would say. You don't need to think the way I think for something to be true. And that's the other beautiful thing, I think. If any of my tenets can be disproven, please disprove it. Because not only will you be, like, I don't view it as you will be destroying what I think, or like throwing my book away. No, you'll be helping me help my mental framework as I try to navigate life. Like, this is what I want. I want to understand how to get through more than anything else. I want to understand how to get through. I want to understand the truth. Give me the facts behind it. And if you can show me how the flaws of what I believe, then show me and help me, because I'm trying to help you. I'm actually putting it out there.
Would you open up your email to those questions as well?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Ask. Like that's what we're here for. Let's have the discussions. Let's push the world forward in that way. That's the only way. Like, open discourse now is like a problem. Even at my undergrad, Beloit College, they had something wonderful called the Upton Forum. Where every year a topic is chosen, and we get to discuss some economic problem, but it's always something that it's not solely economic. You can approach it from a poli-sci perspective, a sociological, a psychological perspective, and we have different people come and speak about it, and we get some discourse going, and we try to understand it. And I think that was a beautiful thing, because it helped us to approximate truth from different perspectives, and that gets you to understand things better, but also appreciate different perspectives and see your own folly. And that's where you grow, and that's where you get closer to what you want. Like, at that level, no one cares about being right. Like, being right is just
that's not the goal.
No.
And I think I hear definitely repeated, and I think by now, if you've watched the entirety of kind of this conversation, you would come to understand and believe that is something that you is deep in the core of who you are. Someone that you're more interested, I'm hearing it, in learning more and understanding more about people and maybe about humanity even than you are about feeling like you're right or like your truths are validated. Would you say that that's the truth?
Of course, because I'm going to die at some point, and my ideas might die with me, and that's okay.
Sure.
Some might stand the test of time if they're correct, and that's fine. So, I think one of the most interesting things that happened to me ever is I've had an ego, very strong ego, from a young age, before I should have had such a strong ego. And I kept it, but I've learned how to kill it. And I think some people never get to that point. I think I might have killed it too early in some ways, actually. But, I know how to, I'm trying to learn how to pull it back in where necessary, because you need that to compete. And I'm still at a point where I need to compete. And I will be needing to compete for a lot longer. But
Mm.
there are some things that I think understanding takes the driver's seat,
Mm.
and that is important. And I
Mm.
think other things, when ego takes the driver's seat, then you'll never get to the destination.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful. With kind of that question, it brings me to my next one. I think that's in a way a synopsis of a lot of the things that we've been talking about, right? So kind of bringing us towards the end. Um, so again, the title of the book, Built Not Born, The Architecture of Becoming. So if there's one message that overarching message, if this was the one thing that your readers take away from this book, what would you prefer it to be? What do you hope that they take away after reading a book like this?
Do good and help yourself.
Mm.
No more.
Do you think that there are different definitions of what good may be, doing good?
Yes, of course. And that's the interesting thing.
Mm.
I think it's very relative. But if you have a properly formed conscience and you can sit with yourself and be real with yourself, which I think a lot of people do have, they just kind of ignore it.
Mm.
But if you can actually do that, then you know what good is.
Mm.
You can do it.
Do you think then that maybe some people are even playing themselves small? I think you're maybe suggesting that you need a level of consciousness and awareness to do this, to do good, whatever
Of
that means
course.
to you.
Of
but
course.
but maybe some people don't believe they have it, or they don't know. Maybe they haven't unlocked it yet. What would you say?
They have it. They
Mm.
have it. Even if they have not listened to it, it's there.
Mm.
And I'm suggesting and nudging you to take a look.
Mm.
You might like what you find.
Incredible. Love it. All right. This is we just have a few more questions here, but this is kind of your permission to brag. Okay, we talked a lot about ego. We've talked about the balance, I think, between that and being humble and all the things. But um, I think it's important to look at how far you've come and to be proud of those things and to be confident whenever you say those things aloud. And so I would love to know, throughout this journey, and maybe not even within the journey of the book, and I'll let you answer this however you please, but the journey of the book or the journey of life, which is kind of the journey of writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
What's something that you're proud of yourself for? Maybe the thing you're most proud of.
Being my mother's son.
Mm.
Yeah. If my mother and father can say that they're proud of me, and my friends can look and say, that's my friend, and say it with confidence no matter what's going on in my life, if I'm being slandered or if I'm being exalted and praised, whatever the case is, if people, those that actually know me properly, they are happy with me, then I'm good. Because I'm already happy with myself. Like when in my private moments when I'm going to sleep, I don't have regrets. I don't have things that bug me anymore. I've made peace. That type of peace. That goes back to your question about peace. What is peace? Yes, it is a type of calm. You are right. It's just a different manifestation of it. So that I guess I would call what you were calling peace my definition of spiritual peace. I'm at spiritual peace like that with myself. But for my earthly side, peace might be different. Peace is more combative. But going back to your direct question, repeat it again. I want to answer it dead on.
Mm-hmm. Let's take the journey of specifically the book.
Mm-hmm.
Age 23, turning 24. You took pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, whichever, and you started writing the book.
Yeah.
From that point up until today, what's the one thing you're most proud of?
I can say I did something and I was honest with it, and I was brave enough to be honest and put it out there without fear of potential backlash or smoke.
Mm.
I'm standing on my 2 feet. I'm sure I can help others.
How hard would you say that it was to be, to use your words, brave enough to write this book?
It's difficult. It's very difficult, actually, because you're putting yourself out there and opening yourself up for attack with very little to benefit.
Mm.
I'm not going to get rich writing this. Oh no, let me rephrase that. I don't plan on getting rich because I wrote this. My entire intention was to help. So helping is one hand. Let's call it what I get, my satisfaction. But the other hand is I'm making myself a target, making myself very public for anything and everything, really.
Right.
So it's risky, but like I was telling you, I try to take a bigger view of things. So right now might be difficult for me, and I don't even fully understand why I'm doing it. But I know that if I don't do it now, then in 10 years I will regret it because I should have done it. And that's what I'm most afraid of. I'm not afraid of like having those discussions with people or being honest and putting myself out there. That's fine. It takes bravery. We have artists doing it all the time.
Sure.
At some point, at least. Like right now, everything is about drugs and irrelevant stuff because they're hiding. People are hiding.
Sure.
Yeah, like of course, yeah. Pop your perks, bro. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah, hide from yourself. Influence people that way. That's okay. That's what you want to do. That's your prerogative. Cool. It's not mine. But I'm telling you, standing here normally 2 feet down. Yeah.
So, you said something there about you would be regretful if you weren't to have written the book now. So I'm curious, would you say that there was a moment where you knew that you had to write the book and that it had to be in this timing and that it needed to be now, ages 24 to 25?
No. It was something that revealed itself to me over time. It was something my inner child was hinting and urging me to do. I just responded. Yeah, I just tried to stay in tune with that guy. Little Johnny, 6-year-old with his bald head and stuff, and his glasses. I was listening to him, and he guided me.
I'm curious. I mean, we did talk about the inner child things much earlier, but as kind of the last question before my final question, if you feel comfortable, I would love for you to share, you know, whenever you think about that inner child, some of the things that you wanted to get back to about that little 6-year-old Johnny. What are some of the first things that come to mind? You gave us a visual picture of kind of who that little boy was, but were there any, you know, inward pieces of that little boy that you found that you feel comfortable sharing?
Yes, naivety and irrationality. Those two things is what I lost for a long time. I was overly logical. And the world will do that to you because you want the best outcome for yourself. And the more you get socialized into the world is the more you develop rational thought. And as you age, your prefrontal cortex forms and become intelligent, and you look at the world through a logical lens. When you look at an adult and look at a child, what differentiates the two of them is rational and logical thought. So I had to learn to be selectively irrational and have that childlike wonder and that zeal in my eyes again at 25 when I haven't had it at 23, 24, 25, whatever the case, when I didn't have it since I was like 8, 7, 8, 9 years old, and I started seeing the world for what it was and behaving rationally. And it wasn't fun in the traditional sense, but it's very fulfilling. And I'm happy I did it, and I love being irrational. I love letting that inner child shine through. He's living out his childhood now, and I'm living his dreams. And I hope that in 5 years I will look, 30-year-old me will look at 25-year-old me and be proud of him. And the funny thing is, if I look back at like a month ago, I look at things that I did and I'm like, I could have done that better. "Ah, I could have done that better, I should have done that better." And you can take that both like two different ways, and I do take it two different ways. I look at it as, wow, you're so old and making you're still making silly mistakes. But I also look at it like, well, within 1 month you've grown so much and you can acknowledge it and you don't have to make those again.
Right.
So it's all improvement, it's all energy, it's all progress, and I'm orienting myself towards the future and towards betterment and towards abundance. I'm taking the lessons and I'm moving forward, and that's what I care about.
Amazing. I think to go back just a little bit, what you said a little bit ago, I think probably my favorite thing you've said so far was I love being irrational.
Yeah.
And I think what's funny is like, someone could take a soundbite of that alone in itself, right, and be like, what is this man saying? But the context is actually so beautiful. The reason that I love it so much that you would say that is because I think the context behind, that being a part of who you lost at such a young age and then finding that in adulthood is definitely a concept that I really do think encompasses, for the most part, this book, and I think it encompasses where you're at in life right now, which is really beautiful. And I do agree with you, after talking now, that also it is something that it takes a level of consciousness and self-awareness for people to understand a concept like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I think it's a beautiful chance for your readers to maybe it's a first step for them in trying to find that level of consciousness and self-awareness, would you say? I think that if someone, hears part of this interview and, hears some of what we've talked about, that maybe it would even, I feel it would be encouraging for them to read the book and say, hey, maybe, this is something that I would like to understand about myself. And I think I view it as almost a stepping stone to get people to maybe unlock that level of themselves. And so I think that's super powerful.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the entire goal.
Mm.
That is the entire goal.
Amazing.
And I've been influenced by a lot of people, and I live in the modern world. I live here, but I also lived 50 years ago. I look back and I look forward. You only understand where you're going if you understand what has happened before. You look for patterns and you move forward, know?
Sure.
The past is already done, but there are lessons. You take them.
Absolutely.
Once you get them, you progress.
Absolutely.
And I like to liken it to exactly what you're saying. I think it was a perfect explanation of how I view things in terms of irrationality. But if you look at, let's say, the best painters or musicians, any artist in any form, it's because they've blended and curated a skill through rational thought and time, and honed their craft. But they've kept their childlike zeal and their wonder for things, and they've blended it, and that blend is magical. So I'm still developing my rational side, and I will never stop. I don't think you should, but I don't think that should be your only driving force. I think you need to balance that with being curious and being somewhat irrational and being fearless and not being self-conscious, not being too self-conscious, not being scared to put yourself out there and try something new, not being scared to fail. That's what children have. Children learn to be scared of others. Children learn to be scared of failure. Children are not by nature scared of failure. Get back to that. See what happens.
Right.
Yeah, try to tap into that. Yeah.
Beautiful, and I love that analogy. And I think that's lovely. And on the note of kind of moving forward, you mentioned moving forward and looking back, but also looking forward. What's next, and what is moving forward for AJ, for Johnny, where you're at now?
Life. More life is ahead of me.
Absolutely.
I'm a simple guy. I want to read and learn as much as I can and do as much as I can, put myself out there as much as I can. See what experiences I gather, harvest them, harvest the lessons, and put it out there.
Okay.
I think knowledge is compounded. I have learned from the people who've walked before me. A lot of mistakes I did not make is because people before me made them, and I didn't have to make them myself.
Sure. Yeah.
So I hope that I can be that for others as
Sure.
well. Pay it forward.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that answer, and I think that it leaves just enough mystery for people watching to think, you know, maybe we don't have a tangible thing about what's next with a Johnny, but I think it's amazing to kind of think, okay, there's definitely more, because as the viewers know, anyone who's watched this knows that you're eager to keep learning and to keep growing.
Of course,
And
it's
so
about the process, not
it's
the end
about the
goal.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's partially why I kept the book so short. It's like it's gonna read about 80 pages. You can digest it in a day. You can digest it maybe an hour and a half, depending on your reading speed, but it doesn't go away.
Right.
It's sticky.
Yeah.
And you can read it cover to cover, through and through, or you can take it a chapter at a time, piece at a time, and still it'll be equally as powerful.
Amazing. I think on that note, do you have, you know, kind of any parting words about, you know, physically, tangibly, you know, the book, and, you know, what we can expect as far as the book going forward, or just any, you know, over encompassing things that you felt like you didn't get to say but you would love to say as we close?
There's so many things that I will never get to say, and so many ideas. Um, I'll just encourage everyone to aim at the best. Figure out what is the highest, most lofty goal that they think that just maybe if they play all of their cards right and everything falls in line, that they might be able to achieve, and aim at that and live your life towards that. You'll have a significantly better life than if you aim low. That is one. And the second thing would be to keep good people around you. That will help you on your journey. Curate your circle properly.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Wow. Okay. Well, I think that's all that I have for you. Do you have what if you? I mean, I know personally because I spend time around you. You have a lot of one-liners. I think we'll just call them one-liners. What do you feel like is a one-liner that is an AJ one-liner that encompasses and closes us out? I think a couple, but I don't know if they feel like they match the moment.
I'm going to say like 20 of them. Before that, I want to say thank you to a lot of the influences I've had when I was writing this. I've read. I'm not sure how much they come into my writing, but I'm sure they do, because the thoughts percolate through my mind all the time. So I've read a lot of Robert Greene, a lot of Jordan Peterson stuff, Paulo Coelho, and music-wise, I've listened to a lot of Nasir Jones, the GOAT, a lot of Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Kool and the Gang, Prince, Kassav, and those things, that music is pure, and it's true, and it gets me in touch with myself. And I think it's important for people, just as, like, if you look at this place, it's really well decorated. So art decorates space, music decorates time. I think we should decorate our time properly.